So this is actually my community library. I grew up in Mendham Township, and I still live here today. They had a story hour when I was a little kid that I'd come to with my mom. So when Seton Hall, I started taking the market research class, and Dr. Lozada, who was my professor, said, "We're going to be working with the Mendham Township Library this year." I thought it was a perfect match for me. The library had definitely taken the feedback that patrons had given them from the first project 2 or 3 years prior and implemented it. For a while, the library had kept the same books in rotation, so it was nice because now you see, New York Times bestsellers on the list. They now have a Kindle program where you can, instead of renting out a book, you rent out a Kindle.
But we found out far more than that. It was wonderful to get feedback from people using our library that our number one asset is our staff. So our library director, Stephanie Cotton, and her staff were a reason why people came here. As an association library, we don't have the funding that bigger libraries do. We get funds from the township, and that's great, but we need those funds supplemented by residents. So we asked some questions in that area.
So my original team was there perceived change, and then the fundraising team did a lot of research on what would be the best way to raise funds for the Mendham Township Library. They found out that patrons would be much more willing to give if the Mendham Township Library held events that people can come to and asking for donations rather than sending a letter in the mail asking for donations.
So the anecdotal information we had maybe 5 years ago, now that's validated through quantitative surveys, and you can call whatever you want to call it. But I think that's critical going forward, especially when we're spending time and effort and resources and funds to support other endeavors that we're planning to do in the library.
It's so much different from the way it was when I was a child. There's so much growth in the library. The book selection is bigger, the library itself is bigger. I've learned so much because of this class, and I've grown so much because of this class. It was such a tremendous opportunity and such a tremendous experience that will then, that then I can use later on in my professional career and say, someone gives me a problem and I say, oh, I've already done this.